a pizza oven on it with a refrigerator. And the other one is a sink with an ice maker and a refrigerator. So we only had the fronts of those, not the sides and the backs. So we're including that all now, but I'll go into more detail in a sec. So here, if we go, here's the site plan, or the area that we're working. It's basically a rectangular terrace in the back with a little walk that comes out to where the driveway is. We're proposing that there'll be these 5 short piers. They're about a little over 2 feet high, that have lighting that is built into the sides. I have a detail on that in it, so that these lights they're basically like step lights. So you can't see the light fixture, but they're shining down on the surface. So they'll illuminate an area that you're walking on. There are lights built into the chimney at the fireplace. This is a major change since 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, we had the fireplace against the house, and the architectural review board thought that was just odd. So we've restored where we originally had the fireplace, which is centered between these 2 piers. This is all kind of on axis to itself. And let's see if there's anything. Well, this shows the 2 islands. We also have 2 light fixtures on either side of the islands to give work lighting for that. But I'll show you those. Well, actually, right here. So here's the lighting that goes in the side of those piers. This is 5 inches wide and 3 inches high. So these are actually quite small, and you don't actually see the LED fixture itself or the bulb itself. That's up above, so it's just the light reflecting down on this onto the ground. This is the light fixture on either side of the islands. Shiny, again, no night sky pollution, and basically a fixture that really you don't see the bulbs in it because this is a sandblasted interior glass. So it gives a warm glow as opposed to seeing a sharp fixture, and it's positioned so that it won't be violating the property lines with light. Okay, the other thing that was requested at the last architectural review board meeting, there's a large planting along the side of the property already that stretches basically the length of the house with tall coniferous trees. There was nothing at this back where you could see into the terrace area from the street looking at the end of the driveway. So we've added a relatively extensive planting bed. There's an existing tree here. We're putting 3 dogwoods in. Those are the only deciduous plants. Everything else, actually, I'll show them. We've got some Wichita blue juniper that turn the corner. So that will give a nice bush effect. Going a little further into the yard will be the blue hollies, which pick that up. And in front of those will be the soft touch holly and the compact inkberries. And then the dogwoods will be the 3 punctuation pieces for that, kind of giving you a feeling of, these flanking the walkway and then 1 more dogwood here. I think that'll give a good balance with the tree. They're far enough out from the canopy of the tree that they'll get enough light. So we're confident that will all work. We also, I don't know whether this was something that you guys were concerned about, but we are providing a drainage system. Even though these are pervious pavers, they advertise themselves as effectively capturing all the water that falls on them. That exceeds my experience with permeable pavers. So what we're doing is we've created a trench drain at the end of this so that the water runs down on this. Any water that runs off will percolate into this. The profile of it is up here. It's a 2-foot perforated pipe in a bed of gravel. And above that is topsoil, so it's about a foot of planting, but that'll be very porous. The water will just penetrate in, and the size of this is capable of handling a 100-year, 24-hour storm for all the water that falls on the terrace. As was noted by the village engineer at the planning board meeting, we actually have reduced the paved area, so it's it's just a good way to handle it. They won't have a problem with flooding in their yard. It'll just make it nice. We also are doing silt fence around to protect it during construction, and we'll do a anti-track apron for the trucks pulling in and out, so we won't get that much mud on the road. If we do get mud on the road, we'll clean it up. This just shows kind of the way that the fireplace works in relationship to the house. This used to be under the house, over here against the house. That's what the ARB did not like. So we moved it out to where it had originally been. It is positioned so that there's no portion of the flue that's within 10 feet of the house, which I think is good, although I do think they're thinking of this being a gas burning fireplace anyway. Shows the relative scale of the two islands and the little piers that give kind of an articulation of the way this works, and then a structural section of the pier detail. The only other thing is kind of giving, these are not illustrations of the specifics, but they give a good sense of it from the company that's going to do this. And these are the two colors that we're using. The Onyx Toffee is the paver, which has Onyx Natural in it. These photographs don't really do it justice. The gray that you see in some of these is actually the gray from the Onyx Natural, and you can kind of pick it up. It's a little hard to see in this, but it's easier to see it in real life. There's also the Onyx Toffee, a little bit of that in the Onyx Natural. So the Onyx Natural will be the fireplace and the islands, and the Onyx Toffee will be the terrace itself. And I think that is probably, no, well, this is drainage information. If you want to check the perk tests, that information's there, but I don't know that that's really what's the concern of the Architectural Review Board.
Patty, on the plans you handed in, wasn't there a fence on the plans or no?
No, there's a fence on the property.
Alrighty.
We're showing, the fence, it doesn't show. I mean, I'm not taking you, I can go down to here and show all that fencing. The property is fairly fenced in, which is what I was showing last time. Here's the existing fences along the property line. So this is the area where that will all be. All this stuff will be gone. And this is that row of coniferous trees along the street. And what the Architectural Review Board was concerned about, if I can find that photo, was this shot. That people driving down the street, if people were sitting here having a nice time, sitting in their backyard, people driving by could be concerned seeing that in the backyard, not wanting to see people sitting on their property or something. So we're bringing the, thank you, Paul. I did need to see somebody crack up at that. But we've provided the planting. So from this tree over to basically where this, actually in front of this little wall, that's all planted out now.
Who does that driveway belong to?
That's this house.
So is this a corner lot?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I guess I didn't see that in the site plan, but fine.
If I get to, right here, this is the house, this and the driveway is back here. It's a nice setup. It's a large yard. This whole L shape is theirs. This used to be where the garage was that got taken down.
Oh, that's what that little, yes.
Yep.
So where the driveway goes in, that's that extra space that they have.
Yep.
Got it.
So
what did you need to go to the planning board for?
Well, we went to the planning board because we were told to go. I have not argued the fact that I didn't think we needed to go because John told me we had to go, and when John says jump, all I ask is how high. So we went to the planning board because we were doing something that was affecting the site, and we wanted to get
more than 300 cubic feet of dirt. That's why.
Well, what the code says is 300 cubic feet of dirt, either excavated or added. There's no limit on paved surface. But we've already got the approvals.
We're not arguing that here, Patty.
I'm not arguing anything with that. So, and we've already been to the planning board and they've already approved it. So,
Okay.
It's really up to you guys whether you feel that we've adequately given you an understanding of colors, materials, all those kinds of things of how this will be. I think it's going to be very lovely. I just wish it would have the roof that we originally planned that has been denied by the zoning board, because it would mean that we're exceeding the permitted building coverage on the site, even though we're less than the impervious surface requirement.
So did you need to get zoning approval for this?
Not for what you've seen. Our original application showed a roof that was above the terrace.
Okay.
This is a very large extended family with multiple households in the community. And most of the other houses are relatively small. They like to get together on weekends. And in the era of COVID, what Ranu and his wife were hoping to do was to have the place where everybody could gather on a Sunday afternoon. So their original plan had the roof on it, so that they would have, in drizzle or, it would just be an easier, you'd be able to use it more of the year if they had that. But when we went to the zoning board, they decided they didn't come up with anything that was a negative about it, but they just didn't think that the homeowner really needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Or deserved. I don't know what we got the findings, but the findings were quite different than the conversation that was had with the zoning board.
Okay, so at this point, that is not an issue, and you have planning board approval.
Yep.
And all you're looking for is the AHRB.
Correct.
Paul and Eric, I was not here for the last meeting for this approval. Is there anything that, stands out from that?
Well, the movement of the fireplace is pretty substantial, and also the concern was that the materials of the islands wasn't really detailed, and we didn't have a great sense of what they were going to look like as a finished product. I think Patty did a great job of coming up with a plan for that and making it look attractive. The fireplace is pretty substantial.
Yep.
Is there any chance it would work on the other side of the porch, closer to the fence, rather than the street?
Is this facing the back, or if you want to call it the back?
Yeah, these doors are the doors that come from the kitchen. So what we wanted to do is put the islands right out here so you could carry things clear to here. Putting the fireplace here, quite honestly, what it really helps with is just providing more privacy for the people sitting on the terrace when they're by the street. And it also puts the chimney itself the furthest from any neighbors. So if we had it over here, right now, as I said, we're thinking a gas fireplace, but if they did go with a wood burning fireplace, you could have that kind of near the next door neighbor. They could be smelling the smoke and, enjoying something that wasn't theirs to enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
And that meets all the setback requirements, John, where the fireplace is located? Because it seems awfully close.
It's considered an accessory structure, so that is the side yard, even though it's a street, it's still a side yard.
It doesn't need two fronts?
We don't have that in Dowsbury.
We haven't gotten the board of trustees to agree on that yet, but I'm working on it.
I'm not going to let them agree on that, John. We'll see.
A lot of towns on the corner, they require two fronts. So anyway,
they do.
I don't know the zoning on this one, so I'm just,
I lived in White Plains on a corner, and they considered both my side yard and front yard.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to have the same setback, right?
Yep. In Dobbs, we've got kind of an interesting law that basically says that when you have a property on a corner, one yard will be the front yard, the opposite yard will be the back, and then the other two will be the sides. And we've actually been to a litigious series on a house we did on McClellan, because one of the neighbors was arguing that it couldn't be subdivided because the house would have to have two front yards. And they wouldn't have a compliant rear yard if the yard facing McClellan was the front yard. So it had to be the other. It was very convoluted. And the judge in White Plains did not agree with the person that brought the lawsuit and supported the village in its decisions. And that was all about this matter of front yards, side yards, and how that all works. So unless John is successful in getting them to do, what was the other? There was something else, John, you wanted to change. That you kind of had your pet thing that we weren't going to have anymore after you got done. But yeah, I mean, it is, quite honestly, if whatever the rule is the rule, and that's what I would always follow. But right now the rule says that this is not a problem, and it's the way a lot of the other houses in the neighborhood are set up. So
what's interesting is that once you pick which one is your front yard, I'm assuming you cannot change that.
I think it would be awkward to have it one day be this side and the other day be the other side. On this house, I mean, on the one on the corner on McClellan, it was a little weird because the front door, if you will, was facing the side yard by their definition of where they wanted the front to be. So that was one of the reasons we went to court. And it turned out that there's nothing in Dobbs Ferry Code that says that the front door has to be on the front of the house. It's one of the two sides that face the streets.
That's true for almost most towns that I know of, at least in Westchester, southern Westchester, that you can put a front door on any side.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to face the front, or what you call the foreseeable. Anyways, that's a different conversation. Paul, you have any other concerns?
I'm just curious what the two of you have to say about the fireplace. That would be my only concern. I mean, particularly with the plantings that they have planned, and seeing a more finished product in terms of the materials that they're going to use. I think it's going to be fine. But you know, having that thing kind of looming up, hopefully not above the tree line there.
It's not really looming. It's not as high as this kick out on the, you know, it basically, it'll look, if anything were going to be a concern of aesthetics, it would be that it might look a little squat.
Okay.
So it's I think it'll have decent proportions, and it'll look like a stone thing with one side of it having a fireplace in it. I don't, if we were really being cool and we were allowed to build the roof, what would have it looking like as though this used to be some old house that people took down and they left the fireplace and the frame of the roof, you know, and took everything else down. But, you know, who knows? I think at some point we might come back to see about getting the roof after we get done with the Supreme Court.
Eric, do you have any comments?
I think it was they addressed, you know, most of the concerns we had last time. I think, yeah, the awkward fireplace placement against the house has been addressed. The facings on all the exterior barbecues in the kitchen area, and I think the privacy trees and shrubs are going to help it a lot. Yeah, I think my only thing would be the same as Paul, just on the drawing. The fireplace does look large, just, you know, but if you're saying that it's not, because it looks on the drawing, it looks higher than that kind of bump out. But if you're saying that it's not, then it's not. Well,
I know what the height is really going to be. I think they may have gotten a little enthusiastic with this. If you notice, there's more on this massing than really needs to be there.
It looked like a lot, and it just looks not proportional to the rest of the outdoor stuff.
What I think was supposed to happen is that this line here was supposed to come along, and these steps would all be below it. So the only thing that would stick up would be the flue portion. So if you want to limit the steps to that level, I think that'll probably bring this down about 6 inches, something like that.
Yeah, I think that would make more sense.
I think that would be preferable, Patty, so we'll make a note on that.
Yep.
Is to see if you can reduce the height on that, at least by 6 inches minimum or more.
Yep.
What is that rectangle? Is that going to be a TV?
Yes.
Okay.
You know,
Maybe that's why you pushed it up.
well, it's rectangular, but I'm also looking at the disc. You know, here's the fireplace down below. Here's the TV up above. This is a little bit more than it really needs to be.
No, you know what? Better check it out. Better check the specs on that.
Well,
It might burn the bottom of the TV, but you need to check it out, okay?
No,
And,
but-
you might want to reduce the size of the TV then, but I've looked at a lot of those, you know, and
No, I know what you're saying, but here's what I've found is the solution for that is you have the mantle.
that helps.
offsets it.
And if you can recess, the TV a
Exactly.
little bit,
Recesses back in, so that protects the television.
Yep.
We did a television up at One Myrtle in the open passageway, and they didn't even buy a special TV for outside. I just got to tell it now. I'm it might not work in another 6 months or something, but I'm just amazed that people are putting televisions outside.
I know.
Well, enjoy nature.
Are there any neighbors for 45 Northfield present? Nope, I don't think so.
Yeah, there were none that came to the zoning board meeting. In fact, all the neighbors were looking forward to having the roof so that when the outdoor events celebrating football games and stuff, they'd be invited and come over, including the person who lives across Northfield Avenue from here. John, do you know who that is?
Okay.
Hey, Patty,
Yeah.
can I ask you, what, do you know the height of the bump out on the house?
I don't know it offhand. I'd say it's about 9.5 feet, 10 feet. And I know this portion above is like 2 feet. That 2 feet we have to have above, but I think we can pull this stuff down by reducing that space between where the television and the fireplace is.
This is Ranu. I'm the homeowner. How are you guys tonight?
Hey, Rado.
So the height of that bump out's it's got to be over 10 feet because I've got 10 feet ceilings on the inside of the house. And that bump out is for the top of my my second floor. So it's got to be over 10 feet.
Okay.
That was the original idea, was that this was at about 10. This is like a 12. Just this piece goes up higher than that, and all these would be in. I'm guessing what now I'm looking at it, and I think what somebody drafting this in my office did is he started here with the steps coming in, and he couldn't really get it to look like the pictures until he added a couple of additional rows. So I think that's what made this thing go up. It doesn't really need to be. We can drop that down and remove some of those rows.
Please do. Yeah, it's just in this elevation, it just looks too big.
Okay.
But yeah, if we could say something in the approval about bringing that down in terms of maybe relative to that bump out, I'd be happy to vote yes on this.
Great.
Okay, so I think that we're going to be ready to approve this with subject to dropping the height of the fireplace by a minimum of 6 inches to a foot if possible. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second, all approved? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank
it.
you so much, guys.
Okay.
Yep. Take care. Good luck.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is we have 83 Judson Avenue. Do we have anyone here for 83 Judson?
Hello.
Hello, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, I'm the homeowner. And actually, I was supposed to have a representative from Home Depot join us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Is,
Okay,
Someone else raising their hand?
is Pat here? Pascal?
yeah, someone's here, we can't see them.
I don't
Hello?
see any other participants.
Oh, hello, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Pat Natal. I'm the sales manager at Home Depot. Can you?
Yes, we can, and we can see you now, thank you.
Sorry about that.
Are you able to share your screen?
What do you need to see? I thought you guys had everything from us.
Let me see if I can share my screen, okay?
Okay.
Oops, not this. Let's see. Okay, are we able to see this?
Yes.
Okay. So can you explain to us what you are trying to do here, please?
Okay, we're replacing 12 windows. Basically, we're removing the existing windows, which are white, and replacing them with Anderson 100 vinyl windows, which are black. It's just basically a swap out window for window. No other structural work is being done other than exchanging windows for windows. There's 12 of them, and they're all numbered on your pictures.
So the new windows are going to be black, but the existing windows are going to remain white, Pat?
No, the new windows will be black.
Right, and then these existing windows, these are going to remain right at the bottom?
The plan is to, we're going to do this in a couple phases. The plan is to do the bedroom windows first, and then eventually do all black windows throughout the entire house, throughout the entire home.
Sam, do you have a plan for how long it's going to be before you replace the first floor windows?
I would say if this goes well, next year.
Okay, because it's going to look a bit odd, right? Where you have.
Oh yeah, I mean, they all need to be replaced, definitely. And I just want to note that this is the backyard.
Uh-huh.
Almost even my neighbors will have a hard time seeing this facade here.
Okay.
But
So-
yeah, the plan is to change out all the frames to black, yes.
Okay, so this is going to be changed. What about this over here?
Yep, eventually, yes, that will be changed as well.
But not this time.
Not in this phase now.
Okay, and then all of these are going to be changed on the second floor.
Yep,
And then on this side, just this one is going to be changed and not the first floor.
yep, but then, yeah, the following year, we want to change out the entire bottom floor.
Now, I didn't get a chance to walk by. I really did want to walk, but it was just too hot today. I didn't drive. I just don't know, is this visible from anywhere? I think it's just going to look odd. I understand that this portion over here is the rear yard, and you're saying that it's not visible from anywhere, but what about this side? Is that visible from somewhere?
Well, okay, the main side is definitely not visible from the street. Even probably like my neighbors will have a hard time seeing it. But yes, this corner window number 12.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a, when you, it's probably, I'm not sure, it might be visible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there is an evergreen like covering, and we have an evergreen and a couple of the like tallest shrubs that block that view. If you'll notice like the reflection in the window.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, and it's pretty set back from the street. So it's not like, You would have to look for it. I feel.
As I said, I didn't get a chance to drive by or walk by there.
Mhm.
Eric, do you have any comments?
I think my only concern is the kind of same as yours, Dipti, is just that, obviously windows are expensive and it's, to do them in phases, but yeah, just that as long as we have the acceptance that eventually you're going to change all the windows to black, just because I think we're just looking for continuity in the windows, and just like anything else on the house, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't make no sense to have two separate colors on
Yeah,
it.
and I mean, it would probably drive you crazy, you and your family crazy also, that you would have two different color windows.
Yeah, for sure.
Paul, you have comments, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, it's visually it's going to be jarring, and if it were all rear facing, difficult to view from the street, I don't think it would be at all an issue. And the fact that it might be partially obscured by plantings is helpful. Is there any reason why you just don't wait until next year and do all the windows at the same time?
Well, I mean, it's also financial issues. I mean, there's like we want to make sure that this looks good. I don't know. I thought it would make sense to do it in a few phases. I mean, it just seemed logical to us. I understand the concern. I mean, but it's not.
Are you planning on painting what is that, wood siding between the upstairs and the downstairs?
Yeah, that needs
Or is
to
that
be.
gonna-
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the white fascia.
Yeah.
Sandro.
Yeah, I need to discuss with my wife exactly. Yes, after this is done, we do plan on repainting that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the issue, I think, and we're not trying to be difficult. We really aren't. It's generally we like to approve projects that have been kind of saved for and kind of done as one complete thing rather than approve things stepwise. Just because it looks better, one way or the other, rather than, part one way and the other way. I mean, that's the only reason I feel any reason to have any type of pause. I kind of agree with Dipti and wishing that I'd have the opportunity to kind of look at the property, from various angles, most importantly from the street, so I can get a better sense of whether or not it's a big deal or not a big deal. What do you think, Dipti?
I think we should hold it off for another 2 weeks, if that's okay, Sam. And another question I have, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, from what I understood when we spoke earlier, our code, Sam, states that everything should be uniform, and that's the preference. So the preference would be for all of it to match, but I do understand and I do sympathize, because we are all homeowners, where you feel that budget-wise, it would be easier for you to split it, where you want to do half of it this year and the other half next year. John, would we be able to approve it with that condition, where, we give him a 1-year approval, and then beyond that, he sort of gets notified that he needs to do something with the first floor windows?
Yes, we could. I mean, in our design guidelines, it states that the house shall match itself architecturally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's driving the board to question when the white would be changed so that everything matches. That's where this is coming from.
Not only that, I think that if you're going to be painting, the spandrel, and then there's all of these, the in-between materials, it should all be approved in terms of what the final product is going to look like. So Sam, if it's okay with you, can you come back, in 2 weeks before this board, and that'll give us an opportunity to do a drive-through or a walk-by between now and then? So if we can postpone it to the next meeting, I think that would be preferable.
Okay, sure.
And decide a color change if there would be one between the top and bottom, right, Paul?
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, both of this, right? Over here and over here. So,
Mhm.
okay, so I think that we will postpone this to the next meeting.
Okay, do I have to do anything? Will I just be automatically queued for the next, will we be automatically queued for the next meeting?
You will be automatically queued, but I would certainly take more pictures from the front to
Mhm.
show those side windows and how big of a view it is from the street.
And
And
the
then
tree, if there's
also
any, yes,
come back with paint colors for where you would paint in between the top and bottom floor windows. So that the board can have a better sense of what it's gonna look like.
Okay,
All right?
all right.
All right. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, so
We gotta
adjourn to the
vote.
next meeting. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Pat. Appreciate your input with this.
Thank you.
So we're voting to continue.
Voting to continue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Eric. All approved.
All right, that's a wrap.
Okay, so I think that we can adjourn the meeting for this evening. Do I have a second?
Second.